Hello. Right. First of all, we're in Asia. There's non-stop noise. It's non-stop. All day, every day, that building. It's not even next door. It's miles away. It is non-stop. Anyway, sorry about that. What can I do? Right, this one is for my old mucko John in Cyprus. Hey up, John. Myself and John done loads and loads and loads of rounds together. John's a big, strong old boy, and I'll never, ever forget that uppercut you caught me with, John. Anyway, talk about jabs. Boxing jabs, not the other one. Don't do that one. Anyway, different types of jab. Now, you've got your normal jab, just your standard jab that everybody teaches, blah, blah, blah. All right? Let's look at some variations and different ways of doing things. All right? So, what I like to teach with jabs is that once people have got a basic understanding and they know how to do a standard jab, is to try not to think of throwing single shots. So even if you're moving away, I'll just move back straight for now, but always be throwing on the way back. Why? Well, if you imagine that I've just thrown some punches at you and it's not worked, you've defended it brilliantly, and I just move back, there's nothing to stop you following me and throwing punches at it. You would, wouldn't you? You counter it, you just go straight in. However, again, just moving straight back for now, don't advocate going straight back. But if you're moving back by throwing jabs at the same time, it makes it that much more difficult for you to just follow and counter. Okay, obviously you'll be moving off and things like that. So we advocate throwing more than one jab, especially on the retreat. So if you've thrown a few punches and it's not working for you and you back off, throw some punches, throw some jabs to make it difficult. And obviously move off while you're doing it. So other things with the jab is throwing it from wherever your hand is. Now, classically it might be here, but for me, for example, my shoulder got smashed up many, many years ago, and it's so difficult for me to hold my hand up because of my shoulder, so it tends to be down here anyway. So from here you would have what we would call an up jab. So the reason it's called an up jab, of course, is because it's going up. So from here it's coming up to the opponent's head. Now, one of the good things about that jab is that it's quite difficult to spot, especially for people who've got a fairly high guard, because their own glove gets in the way of their vision towards your jabbing hand. And obviously, if you understand that line from the eye to the glove to wherever your glove is, you can move it around so that the jab is coming from a position that is definitely hidden. So if you imagine you can't see this hand, you can't see it because it's hidden by your own glove, then it makes that up jab that much more effective. So there's that. That works very well, and it's one where you've got to understand to move this hand to where it needs to be, and then you can jab from anywhere with that jab, which is another variation, if you like, because it could be high, it could be low, it could be out here, it could be over here, wherever that hand is, that's where you jab from, okay, wherever it is. And again, obviously on the move with it, both in and out and around. Now, also, a lot of people teach, and of course they're correct, to step in, bang, with your jab to make it that much more powerful. You've got your body weight behind it, and you've got that momentum behind it. Absolutely right. But also, it leads you on to other things then, such as setting traps. Now, you can set traps in millions and millions of ways, but let's say just as a very basic example that you've gone step, jab and back. Step, jab and back. Step, jab and back. So you've now fed that into the system of your opponent, that you step, jab and move back. Step, jab and move back. Well, one of the great things is that Let's say, for example, your opponent's now thinking, well, he steps, jabs, moves back. I'm going to just move in on him. As soon as he steps, as soon as that jab comes, I'm just going to move in. I've got him timed. I've got him timed. I'm going to go now, go now, go now. He's got you timed. So you think to yourself, right, I'll get him. So now you sort of like step, pause, and jab. You have that little pause in it so that you catch him on the way in. Just a little thing. Obviously, nothing's 100%. It's just an example of how you can, oh, dogs are barking. An example of how you can set a trap. Obviously, like I said, there's 1,000,001 ways of doing it. And that's all part of feints and things like that, and trap setting, and a whole other subject all on its own. The other thing is a feint jab. Now, that leads on from where we were. Now, let's say, for example, that this is the actual target here, the back here is the actual target. Now, a lot of people will feint, this sort of thing, this sort of thing. For me, I like a feint that's here. That's really close to target. Now, why? Well, I get a definite reaction, don't I? Unless that person really, truly understands where you are and everything else, and can just stand there and let it just get so close. But that feint that's that close, that's, in a way, setting that trap again, isn't it? It's letting your opponent think that you're that little bit too far away. You're sussing out the distance, whereas really you can hit it. Obviously, you don't pass up a hit for a feint, but you understand what I mean. People who know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. Dogs are barking again. But you can feint real close. And that makes it that much easier for you to get in with your actual jab. Now, also you've got things like your shoulder position that can create a more powerful jab. If you look at the great Roberto Duran, second round, first fight, Sugar Ray Leonard, he threw 1-2 and his shoulder placement changed, and then the next punch that came was a bit like a power up jab, if you like, and it rocked Leonard. It had him all over the shop for a split second. So that sort of thing can be accomplished by, if you've thrown a 1 and a 2, by movement in and dropping that shoulder or twisting that shoulder around. Now that shoulder is primed for this jab to go, so it can become a power jab. So you don't need to be stepping in with it for power. You can just alter that shoulder, alter the alignment, and send it in, and it becomes almost like a backhand, almost. So you've got that power jab. Then you've got body and everything else mixed up, all the target areas. But also you've got your fist placement. You've got, the way a lot of people teach it, again, nothing wrong with it. You've got your fist here where you've got palm down. Fine, nothing wrong with it. You've also got things with a little bit of extra reach because of the shoulder extension, where you go palm out to the side, thumb down. So thumb down. You've also got, for extra speed, not necessarily distance, but extra speed, thumb up. Why is it extra speed? Well, it doesn't show so much, because I'll exaggerate to make a point. If I go this way, where it's palm down, thumb out to the side, then I'll exaggerate the elbow. That's a big exaggeration to make a point. But you'll see that elbow has to make that sort of movement. It has to. So you get the elbow has to come out and round. So if you're sawing wood, you don't saw wood like this, do you? You saw it here. So when it's here, you don't see the elbow. So it's less obvious what's coming. So in that respect, it's a little bit quicker and a little bit more devious, if you like. Ignoring power for now. Yes, you can get power in it, but it may not be as powerful for you unless you've practiced it, trained it. Then you've got things like thumb down, which tends to be more, for me anyway, because of my shoulder, tends to be more sort of a body shot type thing, and when you move it off at an angle. So sort of things. If you look at the likes of Tyson and that peekaboo type of style, those thumb down ones tend to be done like that. So hopefully that's given a little bit of a thing about the different jabs that we teach. Obviously, you know, as long as it lands, it doesn't really matter which one you use, does it? But think of the different ones that you can use, the different scenarios, how you can feint with it, which way you're going to go with it. You know, if you always drop to jab low, drop to jab low, drop to jab low, drop and jab high. Things like that. Set your traps. Think about what you're doing with it. Think about it when you work in the bag. Think about it when you work in drills. Think about it when you're sparring. Think about it when you're doing your shadows. Think of the different ways you can do it. I see too many people doing shadows and they just blindly throw in a jab with no thought process behind it. No visualization. All of those things. Now, that's saying it's a boxing jab. You could be martial arts guy. It could be, yeah, a Gazamazuki from karate or Junzuki, whatever you want to call it. Front lunge punch. It could be, right? Anything like that. Think of it this way. Right? Yes. So there's lots of ways you can think of it. Gazamazuki doesn't have to be exactly the same, does it? It can be all over the place. It can come from different places. You can use it in different ways. So it's not just for boxing. Think. Anyway, there you go. Thanks, John. Thanks, everyone. You know what to do. You know this story. Just get on with it. Share it and all that jazz. Catch you later.